I would like to talk specifically about the effect of worry and fear on business and life. And let's be specific. Worry and fear cause us anxiety. Worry and fear don't take us any place good. And worry and fear, let's be specific, are based on a future that has not happened yet.
Hey, Cleaning Nation, Mike Campion here with Suzanne Bandick. One of my favorite humans just in life. That has nothing to do with the podcast. Just want to say it to you and the world and to Suzanne. And more importantly, to you all fine people, is she is one of the better people I've seen at helping people get unstuck. It's funny because I feel like, the tactical people on our team and myself are really good at like, here's what to do and here's how to do it. And it's super clear and everyone's like, all right, let's go. And then we come back in a week or two and it's like, all right, we should have that done. We're going to move on to the next thing. Let's go. Oh, well, I did and it didn't get done. And so my strategy of, well, what if I just yelled at them or said it again in a louder voice has a surprisingly low success rate. So we've hired smarter, nicer, kinder, less yelly people than myself to help people through that. So today, Suzanne is going to share, having done this for, decades before us, which is impressive for such a young lady, and probably half a decade with us, specifically owners of cleaning companies, the two emotions that she has found predominantly, there's others, but the two big ones that are keeping our clients stuck in their cleaning business, and really likely if you've got a cleaning business that you're stuck and you can't move forward, it's probably these two emotions that are the culprit or have a lot to do with that. So Suzanne, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mike. Let's see. How should I introduce this?
I thought I did, but maybe I just talked a lot for nothing.
I would like to talk specifically about the effect of worry and fear on business and life. And let's be specific. Worry and fear cause us anxiety. Worry and fear don't take us any place good. And worry and fear, let's be specific, are based on a future that has not happened yet.
So let me tell you what I think I hear you're saying. You can correct me here. I can know that we're all clear. What I'm hearing you say is, because again, really if we want to be super technical, it's just like if you do the things that will make you successful, you'll be successful. So if someone told you the things that would make you successful and you did them, you would be successful. And Suzanne's positing, because these are emotions. You're like, how can emotion keep me stuck? Like actions or lack of them actions keep me stuck. And it's like, well, that's the kind of the why behind the what. The what is what you do. The emotions are why you do it, or more importantly, why you don't do it. So what I'm hearing you say is a lot of us feel like I'm stuck because I don't know what to do. And that's part of it, right? If you don't know what to do, that can hold you back. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but my experience, when I think I hear you saying, is as often as not, sometimes you do know what to do, but you're stuck because you don't know how to do it, or you let those two nasty emotions of fear and anxiety, fear and worry keep you from doing it. Or if I could be even more specific, and please correct me if I'm putting words in your mouth at any point, picturing a future where you do the thing and it not working out keeps you from doing the thing and guarantees you stay at the place that you're at, which you know you don't want.
Well, the latter is exactly the scenario. You know you need to do something. You've been told by your advisor. Let's say the clients in our program are told of something specific they need to do, and you don't do it. You don't do it. Why? Because your mind goes to fear and loss. What if it turns out wrong? Anybody ever thought that way? The majority of us end up thinking this way. I think it goes back to the caveman. And the caveman had to look really carefully before he left the cave, or he might get eaten by a bear. I think there's something in the old DNA. We look for what could go wrong.
Which is interesting, because that's not a skill. That's a skill. That's a feature, not a bug. We want to look for things to go wrong, but in an appropriate way that's kind of sober-minded and not unreasonably focused. So, and there's a wild difference, Suzanne, between what you said just now which is looking for things to go wrong. I'm like, yeah, I think that's appropriate sometimes. Again, before you're married to an amazing man who I've met, and before you married him, I'm sure at some point you're like, is this the right guy? What could go wrong? Blah, blah, blah. And if you stop see, maybe not. So all right. Now we're going to let's stay in business. Say I'm going to buy a piece of equipment, hire somebody, because it's totally okay if we have different positions. I would say it's okay or probably important to think of the things that can go wrong. But the problem is we stop the conversation with ourselves there and don't consider, I think some of us are over positive and don't think enough about, hey, what are the potential downsides? But many of us, certainly on the default, like if we're not making a decision, if we're just, all right, so now we got two different categories of the fear and worry. One is I'm going to make a decision and I need to think through what could go wrong. I need to think through what could go right and cool-headedly make a decision. But that thinking about things that could go wrong can wander into fear and worry.
And stop us from taking action. That's the part I want to talk about. So I actually have a specific example.
Please, let's hear it.
Okay. So one of them is you analyze your clients, each individual client, to see if they're profitable or not. And you discover, wait a minute, I have a whole bunch of clients that are not profitable. Oh, I need to increase what I charge them. But immediately, instead of you realizing, well, you've got the thought, okay, well, I need to raise the price because that will give me a stronger, more stable company where I can serve more people. But the reality that you're thinking about is, wait a minute, what if these clients don't like the price increase? And then our mind goes to, I lose my clients, then I lose my income, then I lose my cleaners, then I'm destitute and on the street. That's how bad this can be.
So that brings up a question for me, because you're so right, Suzanne. When it's very natural, it's not natural for us. Even in my own life, and certainly in the clients we have, it's not natural. I haven't seen for people when we have a decision that we've categorized or deemed or labeled as hard. I've never seen people go down that road on the positive side. What if I raise prices and they are so appreciative and I have more money to pay my employees and I can do a better job for them and I'm happier, and we don't kind of like play with it and let it really like take it to its extreme. And the way we do it on the negative would be, what if I was the president of the United States and the richest person, because that's how bad we go on the bad side. We get to kind of a ridiculous place, but we never do that on the good side. And the bad side, I like that you said fear and worry, because I think they're just a little different. And I think, believe it or not, I think the worry will kill you first. Like you think fear is the worst one because it's kind of a more specific emotion, but that worry, that anxiety, good Lord, you carry that around with you. Like it's just like a fear is kind of like, I almost got in a car accident. I've got a bunch of adrenaline. I'm at 8 cents, but then 5 minutes from now, I'm fine. Boy, oh boy, that anxiety and worry, it's just forever. But we don't do that with the upside. So A, would it make sense to even do that with the upside? And then B, how do we kind of put the downside in a more reasonable, because we don't just say the one thing like you did, which we do. We'll come up with 19 things. So the worry is like, it's not just one, like, what if they don't like me? Go, well, I don't know what to say. What if I feel embarrassed? Like we come up with all these like things, and some of them are just completely made up. And then, like you said, we take it to where we're homeless and destitute. So we kind of come up with 71 problems, and 2 might be things we really have to kind of sort out. And then an outcome that's just beyond the pale in terms of realistic.
Okay. So again, let's explore. If we go to the negative, we stop ourselves dead. We don't do anything because we're afraid to do it.
Which is the definition of being stuck. So like, I don't want to be stuck.
Exactly.
So I know I need to do this thing, but if the cost is something that is fearful, or that I'm going to, instead of taking action, I will worry. So I do take action. The action is to sit here and worry and not do the thing.
Right. Now, a lot of people will come at me and say, but Suzanne, I'm a realist.
Of course.
And I'm going to say, okay, but we're talking about a future that has not happened yet. There's no real in there. A future that has not happened. My suggestion is to focus on what you do want to have happen.
Mike Campion here. Do you ever listen to the podcast and go, this is great information, I just wish I could actually get it implemented, and I wish I could get some help? Well, we do that. If you would like either myself or my team's help actually coming up with a plan that's specialized to you and your business, because with these podcasts, obviously we have to be very general and we can only go 20 minutes at a time. If you'd like to jump on a call with myself or my team, go to growmycleaningcompany.com/talk. We'll jump on a call. There's no charge, and we'll help you get some absolute clarity around exactly what to do next and how to do it. The reason we don't charge for these calls is the plan that we come up with, people want help implementing that. If that's the case, we're happy to talk about it. And if it's not, that's okay too. We're happy to just help you come up with a plan. So if you want to translate the information you're learning here into an actual plan that can change your life, give us a ring, growmycleaningcompany.com/talk. Love to either myself or have one of our coaches walk you through and actually personalize the content you get here to where you're at with your business. Talk soon.
Okay, so we can say these are all the negatives, and that's smart. These are all the things that could go wrong. But how about all the things that could go right? How about focusing on what we do desire to see? So let's go back to the specific example of price increases. Okay, there's a whole list of reasons we already figured them out. We already have them of why we maybe shouldn't do it. This is a scary place. But how about why we should do it and why it may work out?
So how do we build that muscle? It's weird that you would think
It's exactly it. It's a muscle.
50, you would think 50% would be like naturally, oh, I'm always thinking, and there are people that are optimistic, and I'm one of those people, but even me is, I would say, a 9 or 10 on the optimistic scale of people I know. I still don't do that, like, oh, let me just kind of roll around in all the positive outcomes like I do with the negatives. And I'm an optimist. I'm assuming people that are a little more pessimistic, holy heck, is it hard? So you would expect it to just be equally distributed. It's not. How do we build that non-native muscle?
It's a habit. Okay, so we're in the habit of thinking about all the things that can go wrong. And we say that's being a realist, that's being prepared. It's being prepared for doomsday. These are all the things that could go wrong. I am prepared. I am a realist. Okay, you can be a realist all you want, but if it's taking you to a negative place, it's not serving you in your life or your business.
Let me make a distinction, because I think I'm on that side more so than you. I'm going to draw a line. You tell me if it's a fair or helpful line. Assessing risk, helpful. Dwelling on potential negative outcomes absolutely will keep you stuck and makes you feel miserable. So assessing risk can be like, we're going to look at this, we're going to look at that, we're going to go, cool. Can I shut that book? Same thing, like when we ask people things to do, whatever the case may be, raise prices or whatever the case may be, they kind of want to worry about it between now and then. Like, what if it doesn't work? Or what if it's like, well, let's just do it. And then we'll say, and I even will say, let's meet in a week and we'll set a time to worry about it then. We'll look at because we'll have data, right? And then we'll look at it and, maybe the wheels will fall off and everything's gonna be terrible. And then we can roll around in the mud and talk about how everything was terrible. But between now and then, if we do worry about it, are you gonna take a different action? Like, well, no, I got to wait until, I'm raising prices and I have to wait, or most of the things you do, you don't do it instantly. You got to think. So anyway, I'm getting a bit off track, but I'm just so excited about what you're saying. How do you build the muscle? Go ahead.
Okay. So again, you can say, this is the way I always have been, and you can live there and nothing will change. I'm going to suggest you develop a habit of saying, okay, well, I've been in this space now. How about I try the positive space? How about I think about what could go right? It becomes a habit.
I'm like, say I'm in there, like I've made that decision, but you know what I'm saying? Like it's not going to occur to me probably to do that. It's definitely going to occur. So how do I catch myself kind of going down the path I don't want? And then how do I kind of have a reminder or remember to think about the positive?
Yeah, you're going to have to put a Post-it note, maybe everywhere in your house on your wife's forehead.
I don't know if I can get away with that one, but I'll everywhere stand my dog, baby, right? Maybe my 9-year-old, not my wife.
Right. It's you're going to have to put the notes around the house. You're going to have to put the notes on your phone. You're going to have to put something for the next little while that will remind you to switch the thought. Again, remember, if it's a future, our worry comes not from what's going on. Even if something is going on that we don't like, we're worried about what will happen. Again, every single moment in advance is a future. So let's picture what we do desire to have happen. So going back to our example of a price increase. Well, it's possible everybody will get really mad, tell us we're not nice people, and leave.
Mm-hmm.
However, perhaps there's going to be a handful of people. I'm not going to tell you to go to everybody's going to say yes. Now, that would be unrealistic. But there's a handful of people who are going to say, I appreciate you. I appreciate what you do. And of course, I had no idea I was not paying you enough. Yes, stay. And all of a sudden, your business becomes more profitable. Your business becomes more stable. Your clients are happier. You're able to serve your clients better. And you're actually making more money, which makes you feel less stressed, potentially for doing less work, making more money. And you've got more activities that you can do with your family because your business is in a better place. Those are the good things that could happen.
So I've got an observation and a question.
Uh-huh.
The observation for me is, man, I wouldn't have, I like the premise of this podcast of emotions keeping you stuck, because I don't think that's a connection that people make. We think it's the world, or I don't have enough money, or we think it's an external circumstance. Or sometimes people own it, but they just beat the crap out. I'm too dumb, or I'm too lazy, or I don't like, and maybe there could be some things that need to change in you, but we always think of it as actions. And when you take it down, it's, well, why don't I do that? No one's lazy. They're just motivated more to do this action, which might be sitting down or perceived as lazy by the world, than that action, which might be perceived as harder work. But they're not really lazy. They're just more motivated. So if the real fountainhead of being stuck, and I really do say, if we could just eliminate fear and worry from our people and we told them what to do, golly, I think, I don't, not 100%, but in the 90s of like things that would go. So let's go the other way. If fear and worry are keeping us stuck, because again, when you stop smoking, which I haven't done, but I hear you don't stop smoking, you got to replace it with something healthy. What would be and Warren Buffett always says, if you want to figure out like what's going to work, think of the things that would kill a company, like at the foundation, and it's just the opposite of those. So if we know the things that would kill your company and keep you as a human and your company stuck as fear and worry, what are the two emotions that we would replace those with, as opposed to just don't worry, as opposed to worrying about worry?
Okay. What could be the positive?
Just trying to think of a word for that, like hope, great gratitude. I'm trying to think of words that we can.
Right. Hope, definitely. Opposite.
Because the difference of fear would be courage, or the opposite if we're, going that direction. And I think being courageous, I've heard people say it's not having fear, it's having the fear and do the thing anyway. So, and I do think courage is something that needs to happen for business owners that want to have any, look at anyone that's accomplished anything, they've had to have some great courage. And then the opposite of worry, I think, would be thankfulness. Like, as opposed to I'm worried about the things I may lose or won't have in the future, I'm super grateful for the things I have now.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Gratitude is a beautiful place to live in. Right? Like, even when we lose a client, what's the gratitude we can have in that?
I don't know if you've ever heard this, but my mom told me this when I was a kid, and it's true. If you're crying, you can't cry while you drink water. It's impossible. So next time you're crying, if you want to stop, drink some water. You can go back to crying after you're done, but at the moment you're drinking water, you can't cry. My mom told me, I trusted it. I can't picture a universe where I could be intentionally feeling gratitude and hold on to worry. I could go back to the worry once I'm stopped being grateful, but at the moment I'm being grateful, I don't know that I could possibly. So as opposed to don't worry, which for me is difficult, be more grateful. Like, all right, I can do that. And when you're like, I'm going to raise prices on these people, and oh boy, time to kick into worry. It's like, well, let me be grateful I have clients to raise prices on. Let me be grateful that some may say yes. Let me be grateful that I don't have to do anything. I could stay stuck if I wanted to. Let me be grateful. So I think the two big takeaways I have, and then I'm going to turn over to you to sum it up and take us out however you want, Suzanne, is one, just for me, it was at 50 some years old, it was a shocker to hear emotions keep us stuck more than actions, because they're kind of the precursor to actions. And then the second thing is instead of stopping fear and worry, which would be hard for me to do, I'm like, I'm going to start being really grateful. And I don't know how you be courageous, but I know I can be grateful, right? Even if I don't feel grateful, I can choose to be grateful. We can't always choose to be courageous, but I know I can choose to be grateful. I think those two. And if worry and fear keep me stuck, it would stand to reason that obviously good information, knowing what to do, plus gratitude would unstick me.
Great.
That's all I have to say.
I love that. It's remember, there's always the opposite, right? What's the opposite? So, and I love that it's gratitude. So in closing, my suggestion is to always look for the upside. Ask yourself what can go right and focus on creating, at least in your mind, the future that you desire to see.
Bonus content we're going to tag on at the end. The easiest way to do this is hang around people that do that. The hardest way to do this is hang around real negative people. I know if I came to Suzanne with, Suzanne, you don't understand, blah, blah, blah. She's a sweetie, so she'd tolerate it. She wouldn't yell at me or anything, but she would just start asking questions, and gosh dang it, 3.5 minutes later, I'd be like, no, it's pretty good. I think we're going to be okay. I can do this. So, and then the reverse is true. You all know the people in your life who you can go to with how bad it is. And they're going to be, oh yeah, that's the man's fault, or it's this, or me too. And let me pile on. And in a sick way, we're more attracted, I think, to going to that person than to the Suzannes in our lives. But we got to decide what we want. So if you don't have some Suzannes in your life, go find a Suzanne. And the best way to find a Suzanne? Be a Suzanne. You start being grateful. You start being courageous. You'll attract those sorts of folks. And believe it or not, you'll repel the worriers, right? Because they come to you and they want to dump all their crap on you. Like, I'm sure it's going to be fine. Let's figure it out. What's a universe where it could be good? I know Suzanne's not going to change. So I got two options. I can change who I am around her. And then maybe when I'm not, or I can stop hanging out with her. That's it. Like, I'm not going to get her to come down to my, woe is me level. So that's just a quick bonus. If you want some extra on how to do that, find the people that are courageous and grateful, and just don't really focus on fear and worry. Spend more time with them and kind of maybe give yourself a little break from the worriers and the fear. All right. And if you want to do that on purpose, we have a whole community of people, generally fearless and grateful, that would love to help. Feel free to reach out. Thanks for your time and attention. We'll talk soon.
Hey, Cleaning Nation, if you dug the content you just got, we don't do any ads and I don't sell anything on this podcast, but if you would just subscribe, rate, and review, it would be huge, and I'd be so appreciative. Not only is it going to help me, but you'll help other owners of cleaning companies across the world work less, make more, and get profitable. So if you appreciate the value we give, again, subscribe, rate, and review. It would mean the world to me. I'd really appreciate it, and we sure appreciate your time and attention.